Yo, what up? How's it going? And welcome back for another video. Today's video, we are going to be doing G2 versus Fnatic, Game 3 of the LEC Summer Split Final. And man, we have had a series so far. Obviously, I've seen this game before. The first two games, I didn't actually watch the first game live. I was asleep when it was on. But I have seen this game, but I don't really remember what happens in it because enough time has gone by. I do know Fnatic wins this game, I believe. But that doesn't change how the VOD review is going to go, because I think this one's a really interesting game based off the draft. I love talking about drafts, so let's just get right into it. Okay, just looking at the draft before we talk about anything super special, I think both teams are actually really happy with the draft. So even in Game 2 that G2 won, when I looked at the draft, I thought Fnatic actually had the better draft, and they just didn't play well to their win conditions, and G2 played the game better. But I thought there was actually a draft victor. In this game, I actually liked both drafts, and I think both teams actually got exactly what they wanted. So let's just dive right into it. So we see the first pick on blue side. G2 really likes the Sylas side of the matchup. I'm barely gonna talk on this because I've talked about it in every single game so far. So they like taking the Sylas side of the Akali matchup rather than prioritizing the Akali. The reasoning being, well, the strengths of those champions versus each other is Akali wins 1 through 5. Sylas wins at level 6 usually. His kit is better at utilizing Akali's ultimate than Akali is utilizing her ultimate, at least in the 1v1. So Sylas starts to win the matchup there, but then Akali wins the matchup back at about level 9 whenever she has a fully upgraded Q. She can match and wave clear, and she has... and she probably has her Gunblade by then, and that's when Akali comes online. And in the later stages of the game, they're pretty much, I mean, you're not really fighting each other anymore, but you're both strong champions. And whenever you prioritize Sylas as first pick, it makes the enemy have to think about their draft a little bit more. I think that's less important as it was right when Sylas came out, when his ult was like, you get anybody's ult every 10 seconds, which was insane in the late game. But it does make you think a little bit. So in terms of like ult targets that he actually has in this game, he has the Gragas ultimate, which helps with their engage, and they have plenty of engage on G2's composition. Buster Shot's not bad. The Akali ultimate's great for in lane and not bad in team fights. You don't really want the Jax ultimate, but you'll take it. And the Shin stand behind me like sounds amazing, and it sounds like it could be like insane game breaking. But I've seen so many games with a Sylas and a Shin, and you just, it never really happens how you think it's gonna happen. I'm not sure if it happens in this game, but stealing the Shin ultimate I never really see it like come to fruition. Especially Shin support, because you're not gonna be matching Shin in the side lane. But if it was Shin top and you saw him in the side lane, then you'd start to see maybe he steals the ultimate and they ult follow each other. So that'd be kind of neat. Anyways, that's enough about Sylas. So G2 prioritizes the Kai'Sa. It's weird that Xayah falls to the second phase. It's they like the Kai'Sa side of the Xayah matchup, I guess. Or Perk just wants to play Kai'Sa. Either champion is about even in terms of prioritization in this meta right now. It's weird that it fell to the second phase, but it fell to the second phase because they wanted to get Bwipo's counter pick. So they wanted to get his counter pick to the Kled. For whatever reason, G2 has a really high prioritization on the Kled pick. I mean, Kled's a good champion, but Fnatic already shown that they have answers, and they didn't ban out any of the answers because they have to ban out the Aatrox and TF, and they ban out the Rakan because they're not taking Xayah at the 1. They're scared of giving over Xayah Rakan because they don't have an answer for it. It looks like. All right, so they get those are the first 3 picks. Fnatic takes Akali because they like. I mean, you have to take the Akali if they take the Sylas, so they like that side of the matchup. They get Broxah on Gragas, which is great. So an early playmaking champion is also their engage in the later stages of the game. And then they also get their counter pick to the Kled. So they preemptively. Actually, they get this after Kled's already picked, so they take this on the second rotation. So after Kled's already shown, then they pick the Jax because they know they can win that side of the matchup. The Jax-Kled matchup in the early game is Kled favored, but it's very hard to kill Jax. It's also very hard to kill Kled. but that's just like Kled doing Kled things. But it's very hard to kill Jax as the Kled unless you have jungle attention. Because of the counter strike, you dash into him, he just starts the channel as counter strike, he stuns you, and then hops away. So it's very difficult to kill Jax unless he makes a mistake. And then in the later stages of the game, or just at 2 items, Jax is an unkillable monster that is going to 1v2 you and your jungler. So Jax is insane. I'm so surprised it's taken this long since the Sojin changes for Jax to be in the meta, but I'm very happy that he's here. Alrighty, and now we get to the second ban phase. So you have to ban Xayah in the second ban phase as G2, because Reckless hasn't picked his AD carry yet. They banned the Karma. That's mostly a Reckless ban as well. And then on the side of Fnatic, they ban out Skarner. I expected them to ban out 2 junglers here. I expected them to ban out Skarner and J4, or Skarner and Elise, or just J4 Elise, because Yankos was smurfing so hard on J4 in game 2, I believe it was game 2. And then the Elise Kled combo is really good because you can double juggle aggro. So I was thinking they would probably ban out that, but they didn't. They ended up banning out the Thresh so that Kai'Sa couldn't have a kill lane or a safer laning phase. And then Reckless takes Tristana, which, that's Reckless Tristana pick. We'll talk more about that in a second, why this is a really good pick, and with the Shen combo, why it's a really good pick. And then G2 answers with a Braum, which I think is good, so they can have, because they already have the Sejuani, or they get the Sejuani Braum, which I think is good that they picked a defensive support, as well as everybody should know about the synergies between Braum and Sejuani, that you can double stack the passive. But Sejuani, whenever you pick Sejuani and you have double melees in the solos, then you're going to be playing around top side, top and mid in the early game. At least that's what the game plan suggests. Once you pick Sejuani in double melees, especially Kled with Sejuani is insane. Silas with Sejuani is insane. So that's telling you that you're going to play around that side. So when you pick Braum. So whenever you pick Braum right here, if you're going to be playing aggressive in the other 2 lanes, you want to have a defensive support to keep the Kai'Sa alive and get her to the mid game. Because Kai'Sa does not have the best laning phase, and does not do. I mean, her laning phase is fine, but it's nothing. It's not like Draven laning phase. You don't play super aggressive in that lane unless you have a kill-oriented lane, and the other lane you have the ability to kill. But Kai'Sa versus Tristana, and you don't even know their support pick yet. And you already know you want to play aggressive on the top side. There's no reason to pick an aggressive support here. In the Kai'Sa to Tristana matchup, Tristana can actually control a wave whenever she wants to. Whereas a lot of games in the early game, even though Tristana has a lot of wave push, her range is pretty short in the early game, and it's very hard to actually manipulate the wave against more aggressive laners. But against Kai'Sa, Tristana should have the ability to out-trade in the early game, and have wave management as the game kind of progresses in the early game. Be able to manage the wave, or really just have control of it. After a couple levels, and maybe after first back, you can actually just insta-clear the wave if you want to as a Tristana. Cool, so I think that's actually an intelligent pick. Okay, and then we answer with the Shin pick. So we save last pick for Shin, and this was really cool. So this is going to be Shin support. This is really cool here. I thought maybe it was going to be Gragas support and they were going to pick a different jungler here. But the Shin support is very cool. So the reason why it's very cool to me is that actually in this laning phase, so normally the bad part of picking Shin as a support is unless you have flash up, it's a very weak laning phase. So it's very difficult to kill. It's very difficult to threaten. His abilities are very telegraphed. And it's more defensive support, but a defensive support that's not as good as Braum or Tom. It's a defensive support that's not as good as them. And if you don't have flash up, it's very difficult to kill. And if the enemy has a kill bottom lane, you're just not as good as playing defensive as the other 2 champions. But what you do offer is at the level 6, the crazy map rotations that you can do. And every time your flash is up, you have decent engage. And actually have kill threat on people. But in this lane, since Kai'Sa Braum is a very defensive laning phase, and you don't really feel threatened by Kai'Sa's short range AD carry. Braum can beat some ass in the early game, but you're not that scared of it. You can kind of choose whether or not choose whether or not you die. But with the Tristana and Shin, that actually gives you a decent kill lane. If you actually land your taunt on any of the two, Tristana can instantly put the bomb on, jump onto them, and then get a reset during the taunt duration. Or just when the taunt duration is over, get your reset fully stacked. So this is actually a decent kill lane in terms of the laning phase. And then what it does after about Tristana's first back, as I said, she gets to control the wave management. Whenever you come to lane, as long as it's not a cannon wave, you can just bomb the back melee and instantly clear the wave, so Shin can make a proactive play around the map. So Shin can, ult onto a Jax. So, in your mind, think about if Jax has flash advantage on Kled, and then he just jumps onto Kled, channeling his Counter-Strike with a Shin on top of him. You stun him, Shin comes in and taunts him. And if Kled doesn't have flash, then you just flash follow afterwards with the Jax. You can think about some really cool combos, or ulting onto the Gragas as he's looking for a flank, or onto the Akali as she's looking for a flank in the mid game team fight. So there's a lot of options for that type of stuff. All right, so let's progress this to where they actually switch their picks, and then we'll talk about win conditions and all that good stuff. Okay, we are set on where we want to be at. Okay, cool. So let's talk about how these drafts will navigate the early game, because I like to talk about that, and then some win conditions. So as I said, both teams are very good drafts. So a lot of it does come down, and Fnatic and G2 are very good at snowballing. So it really does come down to what happens in the early game. Jungle is so important in this series. Jungle and support are probably the most important positions in this series, because you shouldn't see a lot of solo kills. I think there are some, but you shouldn't see a whole lot of solo kills. This series is really so important about the jungle and support, and then after they get the lead, which team snowballs. I think some of these games are back and forth, but if one of the teams get a big lead in the early game, you should expect them to snowball. But you also at the same time should expect for the enemy team, because Fnatic and G2 are so good at finding windows to come back in. You should expect for them to try to come back in. And I think that's how one of the games works out actually. I think that's how game 4 works out. But anyways, cool. Let's look at what these drafts can do. So Sejuani has a double melee, so you expect Sejuani to play around topside in terms of ganking in the early game. And you have the defensive bottom lane. This team has a really good team fight in the mid game. So with the Kled is decent on one item, Silas is great on one item, Sejuani is great in mid game, Braum is great mid game. Kai'Sa is a little bit lacking in the mid game, especially if you do the Muramana build. They could do a different build so that she's more powerful in the mid game. But you really want her to be at 2 evolves anyways for before you really want to fight. So mid game is decent. But this comp definitely spikes a little bit later in the game. Silas has great scaling. Kled scales decently. Sejuani has great scaling. Kai'Sa has infinite scaling. And Braum does good into the late game as well. So if this team gets a lead, I think in the mid game they might be able to be exposed. They're a decent mid game. But if they get a huge lead, it shouldn't matter. But if they get a lead in their solos, they could run a 1-3-1 with this composition if they wanted to in the late game. If not, they have a great teamfight composition, can set up really well around objectives, and just overall a good composition that G2 have. So it's just really interesting on what plays are going to happen in the early game for them. Okay, looking at Fnatic's composition, they also have a good 1-3-1 composition. So in the mid game, you can stick your Tristana mid. You can stick your Tristana mid with the Shin. Tristana can just insta-clear waves and has her jump to get the safety. Gragas has that huge disengage, and then you can have Akali and Jax run the side lane. So you have they have a great 1-3-1 composition. Jax and Akali are insane in the side lanes. They should eventually outscale their matchups in the side lanes. The side with Akali can be kind of flip-flop depending on who's ahead, but Jax should hard outscale the Kled in the side lane. So if you get stuck in a side lane match with G2, then you would really favor Fnatic. So it'll be on G2 to find windows to have team fights and set up around objectives correctly. If you're in the lead, it's easy to do that, but if not, then you have to find your windows to get big team fights, because you're not going to win in the side lane as G2, even though they have a decent 1-3-1 setup. You're not going to win in the side lane unless you find picks, or unless you force team fights, or fight around vision in the jungle, that type of stuff. So you actually get control of the side of the map, which is hard to do if you don't have the lead. So Be very interesting if they can get the lead in the early game. G2's or Fnatic's composition is very decent in the mid game. I'd say they spike a little bit harder in the mid game because Akali at level 9 with her Gunblade is insane. Tristana is decent on one item. She's better at 3 items. She's a 3-item AD carry, but is decent because you can get those resets. She starts Infinity Edge. Shin is fine. Like Braum is fine. Jax will be at 1 item at that time, which is fine. But you really want him to be at 2 items. So neither team spikes super hard in the mid game. I would favor Fnatic's comp a little bit, unless G2 can find a nifty engage. The only thing Fnatic's comp lacks a little bit is they only have one primary form of engage. So they only have the Gragas or Secret Agent Shin coming in on the Akali, but the really primary form of engage is just the Gragas, and then Shin if he has flash up, or if Akali can get a great flank, he can pop up onto the Akali. So they only have one consistent form of engage, but they do have 2 or 3 they can work with. Whereas G2's comp, the ability to force fights a little bit better. So they have the Sejuani, which great engage. They have the Kled who can courier everybody in. So Kled ults behind the team, and then you have the Sylas who can steal the Gragas ultimate, so steal the Gragas ultimate and do some nifty things with that. Or maybe you have a Tristana ultimate, you flank behind them, you shoot them in there. Flank Tristana, let's go. So overall, looking at the team comps, it's hard to tell who's going to win based off of the team composition. A lot of time you can watch games and you can just say, oh, I would definitely favor this team in this game. But I think both teams have great compositions. I think Fnatic's is the coolest. It's the most interesting. And I think they have a couple more options because they can actually team fight. And then they have the much better 1-3-1 setup than G2. So if the game's at an even state and it gets to, Jax has 2 items. I'm going to talk about this so much in this series. If Jax has 2 items and you actually play the 1-3-1 correctly, Jax is pretty unstoppable. Unless G2 finds fights to force. So I would slightly favor Fnatic, but really whichever team gets the lead in the early game should be able to close this game out because both teams have a bunch of different options and solid win conditions. But if you're at an even game state and you get to the late game, definitely would favor Fnatic because they have the 1-3-1 option. I would be on G2 to force something onto them, but they do have a lot of force. So this should be a great game. Anyways, let's get right into it. I'll make my camera smaller as well so we can see the game a little bit better. All right. Look at all the fans. All right, so should expect the Sejuani to be top and mid, but sometimes what the enemy team expects, you do the opposite. All right. Is there going to be a level 1 play? I think there might be a level 1 play. I think Tragedy might strike on the Rift. Let me see if my controls are working. Okay. I'm seeing if my hotkeys are working. Uh-oh. Level 1 play. So this is a late invade, so this is going to be very interesting how this works out. I want to say G2 wins out on this. Oh, I believe Perks gets the red buff. Okay, something that's important right now is they're doing this level 1 dance, but Reckless gets the lane first. So it is 150 right now. So Reckless is going to get the lane and hopefully get the minion melee XP, so he should get a level advantage. Perks actually gets the red buff. You don't get a whole lot of XP on that as the AD carry at level 1. You don't get a whole lot of XP, so I think Reckless is going to have an XP advantage, but having the red buff in lane is so punishing. And what do we lose? Hillsang flash. Rox is about to flash. Okay, no sums on Mickey X. And no flash on Perks. They do end up getting the kill. Sejuani gets the kill. So Sejuani has no smite. So if Sejuani doesn't back right now, then it's actually going to be difficult to clear the jungle. And probably a huge XP boost for Sejuani right now, but it is going to be difficult to kill the jungle without your first smite. You do actually lose a lot of HP. Probably should have just backed and went straight top and just did the blue buff, so you have double jungle items. I think he does get really low and have to recall. Both junglers got so fucked during that. As I said, look, even though Perks has red buff, Reckless can have control of the wave, and I think he does have an XP advantage. Yep. Sejuani has to recall. Should have actually just recalled and then went out on the map, I believe. I think that would have been the better play. It's not like Brox is going to invade you level 1. After that invade just went so bad. Yeah, so expect for Fnatic's bottom lane to play super aggressive. They have the ability to do so. Looks like Gragas is doing Krug's clear to get level 3. Oh, he's already level 3. How did he get level 3? Oh, he did Scuttle Crab. Oh, because this game is so weird because they started so late, jungling, that he was able to actually just do red buff and then Scuttle Crab. That's insane. This game's hilarious. All right, now we're just looking, where's Sejuani gonna go? Sejuani's on the hunt. All right, just leech some XP, let's go. All right, Sejuani's getting the bottom scuttle. Nikos does end up getting the Scuttle Crab, and he's gonna go back, and I would imagine full clear bottom side base, and then look to make a play around mid. But since Tristana just TP'd, he might head down bottom, and they already have vision on Broxa, so they're both just going to shadow each other, or might end up looking for the fight. So this is going to be interesting. So the early game plans I described, beginning of the game, got so weird by the level 1. So now we're just seeing what they're going to do now. It's hard to predict what they're going to do. It is so hard to gank Tristana Shin unless they play really aggressive. Both teams are just dancing around each other. You have to think this is great for Fnatic right now, because you are really afraid of what you are really afraid of the Sedge, Silas, Kled combo, and it just hasn't happened yet. So Sejuani shadowing the bottom lane definitely favors Fnatic. You know, they don't mind this, and Perks doesn't have TP, and he's already used his cleanse. So if they get a good push right here, they can just keep playing aggressive. But you would imagine Sejuani's going to back and then look to make a play around top and mid. It does look like Bwipo is about to get a reset because how low his health is. So, and he doesn't have TP. He doesn't have TP, so if Sejuani bases, moves toward top side, and then matches as soon as he gets back, then that could be great. But his red buff did just spawn, so he may just do red buff and then look for a gank bottom. But I'd have to say that that's great for Fnatic. They don't mind. Unless the play actually ends up happening. They have so much disengage. Okay, we're going to start an ocean. Nice. That's a pretty good play, because the expectation is they saw Sejuani on bottom side. Sejuani's going to base, go top side, because they did her top side clear, because they already know that. And so Broxa goes top side. I believe there's a Scuttle Crab there, and he would want to shadow his top laner as he comes back to lane. So since he has the information he's going to go to this Scuttle Crab, then you can probably just sneak a Ocean Drake, because the expectation is for both junglers to go topside right now. And so you just do the opposite of what you'd think the enemy would do, the enemy would think you would do, and you just go bottom side. So that actually works out great for them. Ocean Drake is definitely worth a time investment, so Yankos is going to be a little bit behind from actually doing that, because how much time it takes for you to solo dragon in the early game. Oh, boom. Oh, yay. Yeah, Rekos plays that really well, but he does end up still dying for it. Caps gets the kill. Hylissang. Wow, Hylissang survived. Wow, that was great for Fnatic. So let's see. The lane is pushing in the Reckless, but he's about to be up. So he might not miss a lot. I don't know if it's a cannon wave. Does look like he's going to miss a wave. But Reckless got a kill in that trade. Perks did not. Caps got a kill, but so did Nemesis. Good trade for Fnatic. And this lane, so it's already denying 3 minions. And then Nemesis is going to be able to deny the next wave. And what time is it? Oh, Shin ulted? No. Okay. His ult looks weird on that skin. It's purple. Able to get a plate. And able to deny a cannon and probably 2 melees. 3 melees. Probably cannon and all the melees. They actually just denied like half a level of... Oh, wow. They denied the entire minion wave. So about denied almost half a level or more to Caps. So Caps is actually really behind in this matchup where he's already at the point in this matchup. He's at the point in this matchup where you're supposed to be winning a little bit, but Nemesis' itemization, he's already almost at Gunblade. So now Nemesis is going to be feeling pretty strong earlier than you would normally feel strong in this matchup. Kaisa is on a recall timing, so Reckless should be able to push in the tower and maybe get a plate if they want to. This is the power of the Tristana Shin lane. You can play super aggressive. They have to expend a TP to kill Reckless, and then they just walk right in the Nemesis and Broxa. They end up getting a 2-for-1. Actually, yeah, 3-for-1, I believe, right? Yeah, because Reckless got the kill. I don't know what they actually did with the waves in the bottom side, since we looked at a replay. So Broxa may just want to shadow bottom side so that Fnatic can play aggressive on bottom side. Do you know your top side's gonna outscale? Oh yeah, nice. Okay. Oh, they don't actually get anything. That's the type of plays you can make with Shin Tristana, because Tristana can just play back in the lane. When the wave comes into her, she instantly clears. You don't fear Kaisa Braum just murdering you unless you're already low. So they can make plays like that. Didn't actually work out. Wonder did use his flash, and I think Shin used his flash. I guess Hex flash, so it's hard to tell. That's the type of plays Fnatic want to make. So Hillsang backs, he comes back bottom side. Does look like he has his Sightstone completed. And then we can start playing again. But so far, this game's going really well for Fnatic. They actually have a lead right now. But if they didn't have a lead and this was at an even game state, then you would already feel good about this. So Fnatic's in a really good spot right now. Whippo is behind a little bit in CS, but it is somewhat to be expected in the top side. Alright, now we're finally making the Sejuani gank to the... Oh, I guess we're not. I think the Ocean Drake by Yankos is really smart, but really should be playing to their win conditions right now. Really needs to get a flash off of one of the solo laners. Because if you just let this game stall out and be neutral, you're going to lose this game actually as G2, unless Fnatic make a big mistake. Yeah, and they knew his flash was down, so Broxa just flashes in. Oh, this is nice. He actually delays this so long that Jax gets a double kill. Yeah, he delays it long enough to where Whippo can come in and kill. So, fantastic. Finally looks for a play topside, but it was reactionary play. Needs to look for a more proactive play with the Sejuani Kled combination. You don't outscale. So if you're just at a neutral position, then the way you would win is just by playing team fights better or getting better angles, playing around vision, that type of stuff. But that's not a position you want to be in versus a team that is probably evenly matched to you in terms of their ability to play team fights, their ability to set up around objectives. Like you're playing against another great team, so you don't want to be at a negative or neutral position against another great team who has a better late game composition than you. So you don't want to put like the keys in the hands of the other team. Stops it back there. Like if you're like Team Liquid versus like TSM or something like that, then you're fine playing the G2 composition and being at an even game state because you know TSM sucks. So at least this year, come on. Everybody wants to dog on TSM. TSM was my, this is a little bit off a tangent, but TSM was my, like, whenever I started watching League of Legends, I started watching because, and my favorite team was TSM when I started watching. Because that was the team that was winning, and I've always been a big fan of Doublelift and Bjergsen, even before I even watched pro play, but that was when Doublelift was on the roster, when I really started, this is when I really started to watch. I mean, I've always watched, but when I really started to watch, and I was a big fan of TSM at the time, so. Now I'm just a fan of whichever team is good. I don't really care. I'm more about I just want to see teams play well. Is really what I'm about. And TSM is not the good playing team right now. We'll be doing a VOD review on them soon, but I'll stop talking about TSM. All right, now we have a really chaotic mid-game fight. Let's see how it works out. So this was a fight around the ocean. G2 actually secured the ocean. Double ocean is great. Triple ocean is actually pretty good. And triple ocean is going to spawn, so Fnatic will want to get that third ocean just to, I mean, it basically gives you half of a Warmogs if you have 3 oceans. All right, Brox ends up dying. The Shen ults in. There's a Rift Herald going top. Did we get plates there? Sorry, I was like so distracted. Let's see how this actually set up. Okay, Hylissang went topside. He didn't use his ult to get there. He just walked there. So they were trading objectives. Okay, I see. They traded objectives. You do have to favor Ocean Drake at this point. Even though, 14-minute Ocean Drake is whatever. But you're not going to do much with this Rift Herald unless you're snowballing at this point in the game. Alright, so they get out. So why is there a fight right here? It sucks because we can't see. Were they clearing vision, I guess? Okay. So Fnatic was clearing vision right here, I would imagine is what they're doing, because that's a zombie ward. I guess G2 is just like, wait, we have 4 people here. What the fuck are you doing? You just can't clear vision right there. Oh, and Shin was like 2 foot ulting. Okay, I see. He was just ulting for the shield. Okay, and Nemesis get anything on the back end? No, just overall advantage to G2. They do drop the Rift Herald topside and get a little bit of damage on the tower. That's not the worst thing. They just want to get Jack's 2 items, so getting him more gold. If they didn't get plates, but if he ends up taking a tower on a back timing, it'll be a little bit easier to take that tower. Okay. Wonder just ults in. I'm expecting for it to be a bigger fight. Did Hylissang die there? Is that what happened? Let's see. I don't know who died there, but they got a kill advantage. I think it was Hylissang. Brox was already dead, I think. Alright, and so Jack's just got the tower. He's going to stay topside right now. Essentially, we're playing for side lane towers right now. There's not much to play for other than where do you put your your units on the map in order to get a structure right now is really what's happening. It's going to be very difficult for G2 to get this tower. But they know if they leave, Tristana is going to get the tower, and Kai'Sa's not really that ready to team fight. So this might just be the lane assignments, might still just be the same lane assignments, but what's going to be interesting is how the other people move around the map with this top lane tower being gone. You don't actually have to defend this high up for the structure. It'll be really interesting the positioning of everybody else, so the junglers, the jungler and the top laner of G2 is going to be really interesting on what plays they want to set up. So it does look like they might be looking for a bottom lane dive, but at the same time, Jax is pushing into the inner tower, so you do have to base to go answer that. So since Jax is pushing on the top side like that, they know that Kled is going to have to answer. Kled hasn't been on the map for a while, so they can play more aggressive on bottom side and hopefully get this structure. And then they can put Reckless in the mid lane and prepare for the next objective. And they'll have all the side towers down, so they should have an advantage on rotating over, or should have an advantage on getting like deeper vision around an objective. And then hopefully they can get mid, and they have the pushing advantage still. Kai'Sa's not super powerful on the Merman on 1 item, so you can stick the Tristana mid lane, and then hopefully look to break that mid tower and get some advantages around the neutrals. Fnatic really want to get that third ocean. I mean, both teams want that third ocean. It sounds really weird. You're prioritizing an ocean at 20 minutes when it's going to spawn. But if you get 3 oceans, it's really like having half of a Warmogs, and Fnatic that'd be not good for like sieging things down. Fnatic doesn't have a siege comp, so it may not matter a whole lot, but nice. That's the type of plays you want to make with the Shin. Nice. So they actually get a kill in the mid lane, and they're about to rotate Reckless over to try to break that mid tower. Wow, this was great. That was great for Fnatic. They get a kill, and now they might be able to break the tower. They get a shot on it and a bomb. So you're just doing a little bit of chip damage to that mid tower. They really want this mid tower. They have 2 backing, so they might be able to just force it. If they get this mid tower, they should have so much more objective control than G2, and so much more gold as well. Alright, now Fnatic might look for a base, and then as soon as they come back, they want to set up around an objective. It's going to be a little bit late if they do have to back right now. That's why Reckless stays. It is difficult for them to recall because they have no vision around the objective if they actually want to play for it. They might not be able to play for it because they weren't able to actually set up in time. Yeah, Reckless does have to back right now, so they're going to have to give this Ocean Drake most likely. Well, they do play for it. Okay. Wait, how did that happen? Yeah, they weren't able to set up, so G2's able to get this. So Broxa goes in. Smites. The Broxa smite. Yeah, Broxa smited. Jankos hasn't smited yet. Jankos smites at 94 health. Nemesis gets in with R1. Chunks caps the half, but Cap's about to heal with Kingslayer, I would imagine. Perks and Mickey X are right there coming in, and that's a TP from Kled, so there should be a big Kled ult coming in. And let's see where everybody else is coming from. Shin and Tristana. I think Tristana's in base. That's Tristana TPing, and the Jax TP, and then Shin's gonna ult in. So this is instantly going to be five people for Fnatic. So it looks bad for Fnatic right now, but now it's now the Jax is in there. Oh, and then Reckless actually TP'd to the tower. That's good. I thought Reckless was about to TP into his death. And now you got all these low members. Oh, Reckless didn't get an assist on that. That's really unfortunate. Oh, imagine if Reckless got a takedown. That's really unfortunate that he didn't get that takedown on that jump. Oh, that is actually so unfortunate, but they're still going to win. But if he got that takedown, that would have been a wipe. Easy. Wow, and that just ended up working out great for Fnatic. G2 got that third Ocean, but it's probably not going to matter. You know, they like have that half of Warmog's armor, but Fnatic really have like an all-in composition in the first place. So they don't really have a siege composition, like a poke siege composition, like if you have like a Xerath or a Jhin, something like that. A Caitlyn, you know. It's really unfortunate Reckless didn't get that reset because it made his jump look silly. All right. Now Fnatic's in a great position. They actually have enough damage where and enough a gold advantage where they can start setting up around Baron. They probably don't have enough to where they can't just like sneak it or anything like that at this point in the game. The game is enough at an even game state to where that's going to be difficult to do. You really want Reckless to be at 3 items to just like peel through that Baron. Or peel through that Baron. So they can set up around Baron and look for fights around this jungle, right? If G2 come in to look for vision and do it, you know, in a bad way, they get those kills and they can actually peel over to Baron. So you can look for this setup for the next, 2 minutes or so, but then they should back at that time and rotate their vision over to this Infernal Drake, and just set up around there instead, and just keep normal wards actually on the Baron rather than your jungle setup. Is probably what we're going to be looking at right now. And it's going to be on G2 to push in, fight for vision, and then look for a good pick. Look for a good pickup. They have a lot of pick off on this composition, but it's going to be difficult. The game is definitely in Fnatic's hands. They have the Sojourn on the Jax, so they can hard win team fights with the Jax, and they win in the side lane with the Jax. So it is so difficult to actually match up against Fnatic at the moment. They're going to have to look for maybe some rotation plays whenever they're fighting for vision. See if a Fnatic member gets out of place. Really looking for picks or forced engage that they can get, but it's so hard in this position right now. The only positive at the moment is Jax doesn't have his TP, but neither does Wunder. Wunder can get around the map a little bit faster, so if you're catching a fight early and then you just actually walk and rotate, as long as Fnatic's not able to disengage, and you should have numbers advantage, but Fnatic has so much disengage on their comp that if you actually rotate your quad over with an ultimate, the Jax is going to take your entire base. So it's G2 is in a tough spot. They have to be creative here. Such a great spot for Fnatic to be in. All right. Reckless is actually going to back. Since Reckless is backing, they put Nemesis in the mid lane so they don't lose their mid tower. They really don't want to lose their mid tower here. If you can keep your mid tower up, then you have so much more pressure on the map. Okay. So it's actually dark on the map for both teams over the Infernal Drake. That's going to be interesting. But they have enough, Fnatic have enough lane pressure that they feel safe just walking right over to it. And they have the Scuttle Crab on the Baron. That's actually pretty huge. They don't actually have a ward on the Baron, but they have the Scuttle Crab, so Reckless can just solo the Infernal Drake. Didn't actually have to get a vision set up around the Infernal Drake because they already have so much map pressure, so that ended up working out. They actually lost all their vision control onto Baron. The time when they went over to the Infernal Drake, G2 just pushed in for vision. They were looking for to like threaten the Baron since they have a Kai'Sa with a Rage Blade. You know, it's like so hard to actually threaten it, and Fnatic was shown in the mid lane, so they couldn't, and they're on top of a Scuttle Crab. So they just walk in and get vision control, but they're instantly going to lose it, so they're just gifting over gold to the enemy team. The only time they can actually get real vision control is on a back timing, and they break the mid structure. Or obviously if they get a pick or whatever, you know, which can be difficult for them to do. Okay, Bwipo's actually just walking straight over. They're looking for, the idea here is that they want to get a team fight and just get the Baron, and their team fight is actually better because of the items that Jax has. But they could just be playing for the sideline still. They just rotated Jax and Kled over to look for a team fight. Kled has so much more ability to actually rotate over to a fight because he can just ult over and then TP back if the fight doesn't go well. So that's, they were maybe thinking there was a fight happening, so Jax is up there. Okay, not sure how that happened. Let's see. Okay, they think they caught out Nemesis. Oh, no. Okay, he just walked into him. They're making the Shen play. See if it works out. Okay, Caps does get away. I think when I watched this live, there was a slight misplay, but I think he missed the R2. Oh, no, he's on. He has the R2. Okay. I think Broxy came in at a weird angle, is what I remember. Caps didn't have to flash. I don't know if Hillsync flashed there. It's so hard to tell because he has Hex Slash. But the key thing is he doesn't have flash up. Alright, this game's stalling out a little bit, but it's actually not that bad for Fnatic because Reckless is now on 3 items, so you actually have a lot more Baron threat. So they're actually strong enough in the game now where as long as they get vision around the entrances to the Baron, this part is completely dark for G2. It's set for right here. They could actually just jump over the wall and take this. If you push in and get this entrance vision right here, you don't even have to get it that deep. You actually have a lot of Baron threat if you catch G2 on a back timing now. Based off of like the itemization now. Tristana is so strong. Can kill this Baron so fast. Once she's on Bloodthirster, she can almost solo it. Insane. They did get the Infernal as well. Next dragon is a Cloud, so neither team is going to make a play for it really. So it's all going to be about the Baron setup and whether or not Fnatic can either sneak it or look for a fight. So Fnatic have the ability to just do this, right? They can just constantly threaten Baron, and then look to turn. So Jax actually walks up so he doesn't have to expend his TP. So yeah, there we go. Once Jax gets that 3rd item, he's actually unkillable. They're just going to keep doing this, right, until G2 makes a mistake. Nice. They actually get the ult out. Ult and flash from Perks. So now they really want to look for this. And most likely can just turn on this fight. It does look like they're going to peel off. Jax was actually fighting at the inhibitor tower. Does look like maybe they could have just forced the fight there, but they did get a little chunked. They're just going to reset and pull back. They actually have Jax coming in. Oh yeah, because they know they have full vision denial. Yeah, I was thinking maybe they just all dogpile on it. Reckless does have TP. Okay, that's what they're doing. Weird. I thought they were just gonna rush there, but I mean, G2 was on a back timer, but they don't know. They don't obviously have the information. Obviously, I have more. They're gonna give away vision control over on Baron to take the Cloud Drake. They're gonna hard push mid and then retake vision control. So just exchanging wards with each other. And whenever you do that, it should suggest that the enemies will need a back because they have no pink wards. Look, they have no pink wards because they just used all of theirs. Fnatic just cleared it out, so Fnatic has their pink wards. So should suggest that they might be on a back timing soon. Oh wow, they just picked off Perks in the mid lane. Oh, I remember this. This was just a terrible play by Perks. He just walked right into Jax's face. Look, Jax has flash. Look at that. I remember seeing the replay, and now Baron is most likely free. If they come, it's free. If they come to fight you, then you kill them, and you have full vision denial over the pit, and you have a Tristana with 4 items. So, yeah, I can't. Yeah, I remember this replay actually. Jax is actually unkillable now, so yeah. Look at Perks. He literally just walks. He walks into Q range. That was so bad, dude. That was so bad. And now, once Fnatic's comp has Baron, it's actually insane. If they can stack their minion waves correctly to where they crash at the same time, it is so hard to answer. Jax can literally 1v2. He can survive a 1v3. Look at his build, dude. It's insane. He can actually survive a 1v3, and he can kill both of them in a 1v2. Whoever. Maybe like Silas Kled can deal with them, but you need to put Silas and Kled to fight your Jax. Jax can probably just take the tower in Kled's face. He's level 18. But you do have to be careful expending your ultimate, so you do have to expend your ultimate to make it happen. Look at that. See, the Silas and Kled go to deal with him, so they do deal with him. So let's see what happens with that. That was actually good. Fnatic didn't actually have waves coming in. Wow. Actually good defense by G2. Hey, that's exactly what I said though. I said maybe Silas and Kled can deal with the Jax, do a full collapse on him. Are the only members that can maybe do that. The whole thing with the Jax though is you have to fight, you can't run. So you have to fight, you can't run. But the idea is he's gonna stall out as long as he can, so that maybe Fnatic can get a tower. But they didn't actually have waves crashing, so that was actually really good timing for G2. All right, we're looking for a flank. Here we go. And Bwipo has ult again. He has his ult on. I think that's so I play a lot of Jackson. I watch a lot of TF Blade honestly to learn about how to play like champions like this, you know. That Zanya's was pretty weird because you're wasting your Sojin time. He's scared he's about to get Sedge ulted. You already see the Braum ult come out. He's scared he's gonna get Sedge ulted, I guess. But that's your redemption. Weird, you're wasting all your Sojin. I don't know if he actually activated his. He may have not activated his Sojin. I don't know if he actually auto-attacked. You're wasting your Sojin time. I was watching that live, and I remember watching that, and I was like, Oh, and you're just thinking about, oh man, what if Reckless gets a reset right now? They're just going to peel back. Yep, and if Reckless gets a reset right here, then here we go. Ooh. Let's get the Buster shot on, but look at this dude. But Reckless is at 4.5 items. At this point in the game, Tristana is just insane, dude. If you get a reset in a fight, the fight's like over. That was actually a great flank by Fnatic. That was really good. Now you have the the Elder Dragon, and you'll still have that when the Baron spawns. So you can set up vision around this quadrant again. If you get a fight, you win the fight because you have 2 Drakes and double stack Infernal Drake now, right? So it's going to be so hard for G2 to actually fight you. And so you have so much Baron threat. You get the Baron, you set up your 1-3-1 again, and round 2 on the 1-3-1. So for this time, your Shoshana has 5 items. Your Shoshana's full build, dude. Oh, man. Yeah, this Baron's going to be instantly dead. They have the burn damage and everything. They still have double stack epics, but they're about to lose that. And Fnatic should win on this push, right? But if you don't win on this push, then you have the 2 Elder win condition. All right, this should be a clean closeout now, right? So Hillsang's kind of doing the Pike thing, where you have so much disengage on your champion and mobility that you can stay in the side lane because you can just ult onto whoever is getting punished in a second. So key thing to remember, Bluepo still does have ultimate. They're just going to get this tower for free, and then they're going to get this inhibitor, or he can play super aggressive if he wants to. All right, now he has his ult. Now he's going to Sojourn like crazy. Look at Jax. Look at Jax. Look at Jax. Look at Jax. Unkillable. Jax is insane, bro. Jax is so insane. Wow. Okay. That is the end of that game. I'm not going to talk too much at the end, or this video will be an hour long and nobody will ever click on it. It's not like people are going to click on this video anyways. It's game 3. I do think this game was fun to do a VOD review on. So, hey, I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, give it a like and all that, all that bullshit you have to say at the end of the video so people will like it, all that good stuff. So, anyways, hey, I'll be doing the rest of the series right after this game. So, thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye. Bye.